Hi, my name's Matt. I work for Bennett Workplace Solutions. At Bennett Workplace, we offer a wide range of products and services supporting both children and adults with specific needs, be that in the form of a physical disability, musculoskeletal conditions, hearing and visual impairment, or hidden disabilities such as dyslexia. We assess for, recommend and supply specialist ergonomic seating and furniture, desktop equipment, as well as assistive technologies and training for use both at home, school, and within the workplace. During the video, you'll see me demonstrating the chair in lots of different scenarios. However, to see children using the chair in similar scenarios, you can log on to our website, which is bennett-workplace.co.uk. On here, you will find full information about all the Vela chairs that we provide, along with product sheets, videos of the chairs in action, and then case studies and testimonials from occupational therapists, physios, specialist teachers, and parents and children. Bennett Workplace was formed out of our parent company, Barry Bennett Limited. Barry Bennett also provide a similar range of products and services, with their main focus being on students entering into higher education and university. This means that together we're able to follow a person's complete journey through school, higher education, workplace and beyond. So Bennett Workplace are a recommended UK distributor for Vela chairs, and it's the Vela chair range that we're going to focus on today. My role at Bennett Workplace is as a disability seating specialist. I work with a team of highly trained assessors across the UK, conducting paediatric and adult seating assessments, be that in the home, at school or in the workplace. We work very closely with occupational therapists, physiotherapists, specialist teachers, parents and carers to ensure that the chair that we recommend is the right size and fit for the child, as well as having all the necessary accessories to provide them maximum comfort. We also have a team of highly skilled engineers who can provide service and maintenance of the chairs. When it comes to Vela, there are three main areas to think about: independence and mobility, inclusion, and then growth and adjustability. With regards to independence and mobility, this is an active range of chairs that's designed so that the user can do as much as they can for themselves without having to have assistance from parents, carers, support workers. Inclusion. The chairs, again, are designed to fit into everyday life, whether that's in the office or home or school, so that the person using the chair can be included with classmates or colleagues in whatever situation. And then growth and adjustability. We'll do a little demonstration later to show how the chair grows with the child, but we can also retrofit accessories or we can remove accessories, so the chair can adapt and change as the user condition changes or as they grow. So just a very brief history about Vela. It's a Danish manufacturer that was established in 1935 by a gentleman called Verman Larsen, who was an engineer by trade. During the mid-60s, they started to focus more on disability seating and seating for people with limited mobility, and are now known worldwide as the company that introduced the chair with the accessible brake. The biggest export to come out of Denmark isn't bacon, it's not beer, it's Lego. And we can think of the Vela chair range in a similar sense to Lego, in that the chairs are built in a modular system. So we start off with the standard base frame. We can then add different types of wheels, different brake levers, different size seats and backrests and shapes of seats and backrests, footrests, and then lots and lots of other accessories on there. So we build that chair up to meet the exact needs of the user. So I just want to introduce to you the Vela Tango range of chairs. We have Vela Tango 100, both electric and manual height adjustment, moving up into the Vela Tango 510, again, manual and electric height adjustment. Whilst they look fairly different, in essence they're the same chair, just with different size seats, different size backrests, and obviously different accessories on each chair as well. But it creates a fluid chair range that we can grow from children all the way through to adults. One of the first things that we notice about a Vela Tango is that it just has the look of an ordinary office chair. This means that the user is not going to stand out like they would do in some other specialist seating. This is particularly important for teenagers when they go up into secondary school and they just want to be the same as all the rest of their classmates. And we find really good feedback with the Vela chair range that actually it just looks like an ordinary chair. So another important key feature of a Vela Tango chair is the easy accessible brake. When we pull this brake lever forward, it automatically locks the back two wheels to provide stability when transferring in and out of the chair. When the brake is off, the chair moves nice and freely and nice and easily. Then when I pull the brake forward, it locks the back two wheels and prevents that chair from moving. That gives me a nice stable platform for when I'm transferring in or transferring back out of the chair. The armrests are all fully load bearing as well. So when we are transferring in, we can take the weight through our arms and lower ourselves down into this position. If we're able then to do a forward standing transfer, we can go from here again, using our weight through the armrests to get ourselves up into that standing position. If we have reduced core strength and mobility, we can actually use the high-low controls to provide us with a sit to stand. So again, with the brake fully locked on, we can use the high-low controls to raise the height of the chair up, begin to shuffle forward, and then as the height of the chair raises, we're naturally raising into that standing position, straight into a walking frame or whatever we might, at the aid we might need to assist us. If we're going to reverse that situation, we can have the chair in a raised position with the brake on, and then I can reach back for my armrests, put my weight against the chair, and then use the lowering function to bring it down and start to shuffle back into a good standard seated posture. If we're going to be using this chair to transfer maybe into a wheelchair or onto a bed or a different seat, then we can, on the Vela Tango 510, we can use the swing away armrest, just at the touch of a button to swing that armrest completely out the way. Again, with the brake locked on, the chair's nice and stable. I can shuffle myself across and I can actually have all my weight on one side of the chair without the fear of that tipping. We could also use a banana board to assist that transfer. All controls and brakes are available on left and right, and it's very easy to interchange between the two. There's a simple wing nut that can be undone at the base of the brake, and it can be very easily transported and used as a left-sided brake instead. Exactly the same with the high-low controls. We can swap the armrests over to provide controls on the left-hand side as opposed to the right-hand side. With regards to brake, we also have different types of brake available. So we can have a brake extension, which brings the brake lever much higher, so it's more accessible if we're using the chair up in a raised position or for shorter users who find it difficult to access the brake. And lastly, if needs be, and we can't actually use a manual brake like this, we can have a button positioned on the armrest to work as an electric brake. So for extra stability, when it comes to the braking system, we can actually have a four-wheel brake, which is the extra bar that runs across here. That means when we lock the brake forward, not only do the back wheels lock, but the front wheels also lock as well, preventing any sideways rotation. Another important feature of a Vela chair is the four-wheel base. What that means is instead of having a standard 5-star base like a lot of office chairs, where you ultimately have one of the spokes in the way where your feet would like to be, on a Vela chair, because the wheels are positioned on all four corners, it creates this space which enables the user to use their feet to be able to walk the chair. Another benefit of having this curved four-wheel base is it allows parents, carers or teaching assistants to be able to get in close to the chair, as on your knees the base will come over the knees like this. That enables then the parent or carer to be at eye level with the child and have eye level interaction, as opposed to being in a position like this where they're stood over the child trying to assist. So when using the chair, either at a desk within an office or at home or at school, if the user has the capabilities within their legs, due to the space in between the chair here, we're able to use our feet to walk the chair either forward or backwards. If that leg capability isn't possible, we're able to use other aids around us to assist ourselves in getting in, either by taking hold of the desk and pulling yourself in. The wheels move nice and freely and easily to make that a very simple process. Once we're in at the desk, we can apply the brake to give the chair that stability again. When we want to leave the desk, we can remove the brake, push ourselves away, apply the brake, and then we are able to then move out of the chair. So when we're sat at a desk and we want to speak to a colleague either side of us or interact with other classmates, we don't necessarily have to get out of the chair or turn the chair around. On the left-hand side here, there's a little lever, and we can use that as a rotation lock to come round. So we can keep the chair in the same position using the lever on the left-hand side here, and we can then twist the chair back round into the position that we want to be in. So when we're wanting to use the chair at a higher surface location, whether that's a standing desk in an office, breakfast bar at home, dining room tables, or specifically when we think about secondary education with science benches being higher, food tech classes, DT, those kind of lessons, we still want the person to be able to use and be inclusive and use the same desks as everybody else. They can do that. Again, the brake is on the chair to make it nice and stable when transferring in. Once we're in the chair, we can remove the brake, and again, using our feet, using our hands to manoeuvre over to the desk. Apply the brake to give that stability, and then using the high-low controls underneath the armrest, we can raise ourselves up to the right height for working. Sometimes you may want to change from a seated position into a more standing position, into a perching position. So we can do that by applying the brake on the right hand side, using the lever on the side here to tilt the chair forward, tilt the seat pan. We can then use the high-low controls underneath to raise the chair height up. That enables us to slide forward a little bit and come into a more semi-standing perched position. We can then remove the brake, and if we've got a different height desk or different height surface, we can then reapply the brake to give the stability so that we can push back against the chair and we know it's not going to go anywhere, and we can work from that semi-standing position. So this is the Velatango 510, and as with all Velatango chairs, it has an incredibly small frame. It's 55 centimetres by 55 centimetres. That enables it to go through all standard doorways at ease. This is the Velatango 100 series, and again, as with all Velatangos, it has the small curved four-wheel base frame. This is 55 centimetres by 55 centimetres. That enables it to go through small spaces, particularly through all standard doorways. Also, on this particular chair, we've attached a height adjustable strolling bar, which can either be used by the child or adult using the chair to push their own chair from desk to desk or from classroom to classroom, or it could be used by an assistant or a carer to actually have the user in the chair and push them along. The Vela range of chairs is very much about promoting independence and inclusivity. We want the user to be able to do as much as they can for themselves without the assistance of parents, teaching assistants, carers, etc. And we also want to make sure that we're included. So when it comes to different areas, it might be a dining room table, we don't want the person to be sat on their own out of the way or sat on the end. We can actually fit a Velatango chair next to a standard school chair or a standard office chair at a standard desk or in that dining room table setting. Again, we're able to use our feet or our arms because of the wheels to manoeuvre ourselves into position, and then we can apply the brake to add that stability to the chair whilst we're either eating or we may be doing work-based activities or homework at the table. So within the kitchen environment, we might have the dining room table, but we may also have a breakfast bar where we want to sit and have breakfast with the family, or maybe just do a little bit of work from a different area. Again, because the chair's on wheels, we're able to use our feet or our hands to manoeuvre ourselves into the correct position. We can apply the brake to give the chair that stability, and then using the high-low controls under the armrest, we can raise ourselves up to the correct height to sit at the breakfast bar. Again, where necessary, we can have a foot plate in place to support the feet when we're working from height. So when we're finished at the breakfast bar or the different height surface, we don't then have to transfer back into a wheelchair if we're a wheelchair user to get ourselves back into the office. Again, we can lower the chair back down to the height so that we have purchase with our feet. If we have that capability, we're able to walk the chair. And because of the small frame, it's going to fit through tight spaces nice and easily. But I can use windowsills, I can use other bits to pull myself around the office and work my way back to my desk. So when we're either at work or we might be at home, we generally find ourselves in a kitchen environment and we need to do certain activities that would involve us reaching up to higher cupboards or accessing sinks, etc. Again, we're able to use the wheels on the chair to manoeuvre ourselves into the correct position, apply that locking brake to give the stability, and then we can use the high-low controls underneath the armrests to raise ourselves up to the correct height. The chair will raise up to a height of 75 centimetres, which is easily high enough to access kitchen sinks and higher cupboards. Sometimes it can be difficult to access the sink because of the cupboards that are positioned underneath, preventing the knees from getting in close enough and meaning that we have to lean forward to access it. We can do the same as we've done before by applying the brakes side on and raising ourselves up to access the sink more easily from the side. Or alternatively, we can change how we use the chair and use it as a more sit to stand. So again, we're going to apply the brake lever, and then we can use the controls on the side here. You lift the paddle upwards to tilt the seat forward. We can then use the high-low controls underneath the armrest to raise ourselves up into a more standing position. Once we're in that more comfortable position, we can take the brake off and then either use our feet or our hands to manoeuvre ourselves into a better position to gain much easier access for taps. So as we looked at briefly before, the Vela Tango range of chairs is a fluid range of chairs in that all the seats and backrests are interchangeable from one size to the next. So we don't just have a size 1, a size 2 and a size 3. We can swap and change as we need. This allows us to have growth within the chair. Now the way that we would build in the growth is we do it through the backrest moving. When we go out to do an assessment, we would oversize the size of the seat and bring the backrest as far forward as possible. When we go out to do a review, or an occupational therapist does their review of the child's seat, to change that seat depth and grow the chair, we'd use this lever on the back here, lift it up, and it allows the backrest to move forward and backwards. We've moved the backrest back. There's also then a catch on the back of the backrest here that we can use to straighten backrest and change the angle. So we've moved the seat depth from here back to here. We'll keep doing that as the child grows at each different review until we've moved it back to its maximum. So what that enables us to do is we would generally start with children of about 4 years old, either in reception or year 1 classes. And as a general rule, they would probably start off in the smaller size seat, which is called an E2 seat. We would then complete that process of moving the backrest back to allow for growth, keep going back for as long as it takes them to outgrow that length of the seat. Once that's done, we don't then need to buy a new chair or a new frame. We can simply take this size seat off, 4 bolts underneath, we'll remove that seat and we will put the next size seat on. We would then bring the backrest as far forward as possible and then begin that process of growth all over again. So once we've finished out of one size, we don't need to buy a new chair. We're simply just changing the size of the seat. So in the same way that we can change the smaller seat size and put on the larger seat size, we can also do the same with the backrests. Very, very straightforward to do. At the bottom here, there's a little lever. We lift that up. We can remove the entire backrest and we can swap that for the next size up. So no tools are necessary. It's just one lever and we're able then to grow the size of the backrest. So another feature of the chair is the way that we can adjust the seat tilt angle, either as anterior or posterior tilt, to provide the perfect hip position for that child's needs. Very, very straightforward to do. There's a lever at the front here that when we lift allows us to have the forward and backward tilt. Just want to show you a little bit about the contoured seats that come with the Vela Tango 100. Again, we've got the E2, the E3, and then the largest one, which is the E4 size. When we fold back the fabric to have a look inside, we can see that the sides of the foam is built up to give a contour to the seat. This is going to help keep the legs in a more neutral position. Also work on the hips and pelvis. We're trying to prevent that abduction of the legs splaying out. Also within there, we have two different types of memory foam built into the base of the seat. They're positioned around where the ITs, where the sitting bones would be, just to provide that extra comfort. As an option, we can also have a foam pommel cap that sits in the middle of the seat to help prevent against adduction. This is removable and it can also be retrofitted. As we discussed before, there's many different accessories that we can put onto the Vela Tango range of chairs. They can go on any of the chairs from small all the way up to the 510. Types of accessories you've seen a million times before: headrests, lateral supports, lap belts, strolling bars that we can see at the back, foot plates, height and angle adjustable. So all the accessories that you would normally use as an occupational therapist or as a physio, we can put onto any of these chairs. So as well as being able to swap between one size backrest and the next backrest, we also have the ability to raise the backrest up as that child grows, again helping to cope with that growth. Simply using the lever on the side here, the backrest will raise up and down according to where it needs to be. Just want to show you a few of the accessories that we commonly find attached to the seat. The 4-point lap belt, padded 4-point lap belt, that's obviously positioned at four points underneath the seat base. We'd also commonly find some hip guides or thigh guides, and again, these can be positioned wherever we want to on the seat. Because with the Tango 100, we can adjust the growth by moving the backrest backwards. When we do that, that would mean that the lap belt is no longer positioned in the correct position to work underneath the hip bones here. We need to be able to move this as well. Again, similarly, with the hip guides, we might need to move those forward and backwards. The way we do that, this is the underside of the seat. It has this rail system here. So within this rail system is 6 different screw holes, and that allows us to attach the thigh guides into that position, and then they can be moved up and down or forward and backwards as per the seat depth of the chair. Within these positions here, this is also where the lap belt is secured to. So when it comes to needing to attach accessories to the backrests, such as lateral supports or a harness or a headrest, we use, again, a rail system on the back of the chair here. We have the 2 silver rails. All of the holes for this are already pre-drilled, so it makes it very easy to retrofit. You can see we have a bracket here where the lateral support is attached to. This is what's going to provide us the adjustment both in width and also in height. So very simply, with an Allen key, we can just loosen off the bolts, and that allows us, if I show you from the front, that allows us to have width adjustment, but it will also allow us to raise or lower the height of the lateral supports. Again, building in that growth as the child changes. So the lateral supports, as we've looked at, are both height and angle adjustable, but they can also be swung away. We simply press this gold button here and the lateral swings all the way back. We can use this to give support when needed, but we don't always have to have that support there. So there are different types of headrests that are available for the chair. We can have a fixed headrest like you would see on the maroon chair that we have, the 510, but we can also have more articulated headrests that are all angle and height adjustable. Again, it's very, very straightforward to retrospectively fit this to a chair, or it can be done in the factory at point of purchase. We use this little bracket here with a twist cap. We loosen that off and the headrest will then slide into place. To remove that, we can undo the bolts and take the whole thing off, or as the child grows, we can just keep raising the height. So we're just going to have a quick look at the foot plate. It's both height adjustable and angle adjustable. To adjust the angle, there's an Allen key socket in the back here that will twist to the right and it will raise it up, twist it to the left, and it will lower the angle of the foot plate. In order to change the height, there's a little wing nut just behind the back here that we can undo. We can remove the bolt and then we can position the foot plate as high or as low as we need it to be. Sometimes it's necessary to take the chair from one classroom to another classroom, across a school site, or maybe across the office to work in a different area. If it's being transported for large distances, then we recommend using a strolling bar. This could either be used by the actual individual themselves to push their own chair from place to place, or the child or adult could remain in the chair and an assistant could actually wheel them to their next lesson or to the other side of the office. Obviously, by having a strolling bar, it adds a much greater depth to the chair. However, this is completely removable. There are two little catches underneath here that we just need to undo, and then the whole thing simply pulls out, can be left to store for the rest of that time, and then when it's needed again, simply just push back into place. As said, we work very closely with occupational therapists, physiotherapists and specialist teachers, and we really value any feedback that we're given. Following on from feedback we've received, we've worked very hard to make booking assessments as easy as possible. We now have online booking referral forms on our website. You'll find links to the referral forms for new chair assessments, for existing chair reviews and servicing. Simply complete the form online, that'll come through to ourselves and we'll do the rest. Thank you for joining us today. Hopefully you now have a good understanding about what we do at Bennett Workplace, as well as more knowledge about the range of Vela chairs that we provide. I'll be on hand to answer any questions you may have using the live comments section for the rest of the afternoon, or please feel free to contact me either via email or telephone if you require some further information.